first off, storylines here. Obviously, for those that don't know, the Broncos lost Monday night as well. They had the late game. They lost right at the end, man. Last second field goal by the Titans. A little bit of clock mismanagement potentially by Vic Fangio. He had a couple timeouts sitting there in his pocket, never called one. So by the time they got the ball back, I think it was 17 seconds left. That's how they ended up losing. Earlier in the game, though, the Broncos had a chance to score. Got stopped on the goal line 4 plays, couple mishaps and things like that. But I think, man, the Broncos, they still look like a good team to me. Obviously, knowing the Titans were AFC Championship contender last year, I thought that was going to be a tough game for them because I thought both teams were pretty evenly matched. Neither one,
a little less experience for the Broncos.
Correct.
That's all you
less
say.
Experience for the Broncos, but neither one has just a plethora of talent where you're just like, man, I don't know how we can hang with these guys.
Right. Young talent for the Broncos, but they didn't even play.
They didn't, yeah, without a doubt. So that was my thought process with that. But I thought the game was good. I guess my initial takeaway from it was Drew Lock looks good. Still has to continue to improve with his accuracy. He had, for the most part, he looked good, but he still missed some routine throws. Jerry Jeudy, I thought, played well, but he has a drops issue. He had dropped some easy ones. That gave me a little pause. I didn't think they could run. I don't think they'll be able to run the ball at all on us, honestly, man.
No, me neither.
Watching them, Melvin Gordon is cool, but I don't think they have enough to win that battle in the trenches, man.
Well, I wanted to say this about Melvin Gordon because I always felt this way about Tomlinson for whatever reason. I don't know if it's just Chargers running backs, but I swear whenever he played the Steelers, we always kept him in check. Always, it was like 20 yards, 30 yards. Yes. LT was never a factor. And I was thinking that with Melvin Gordon. I was like, when has he ever played us and done anything? Yeah. So I remember back his rookie year, I kind of looked up the stats. Only had 30 yards rushing there. And then last year.
Hold on. What was his rookie year? Was that
15?
That was the Monday night game.
Did you play him?
Yeah, the Monday. Was that the Vic one? Yeah.
It was in
San Diego.
Yeah, he didn't do anything there. He did. I checked. He had a lot of receptions, but that's just more Phillip Rivers checking it down. And then last year he only had like 18 yards against us. I'm not worried at all. I'm in the same
agree.
boat.
I feel like, man, and it's not like
Philip Lindsay's not playing. He's the one that torched us. Yeah. What was it, a couple years ago?
Absolutely, man. Yeah. So I don't know what it is about Melvin Gordon. He just seems more finesse to me than when you think of like a Saquon Barkley or even a Joe Mixon, like some of those guys who are explosive, but they just seem like a powerful, like aggressive style runner. Melvin doesn't really give me those type of vibes. I think that's why a lot of times he does struggle with teams like the Steelers who fly around and are super aggressive and stuff like that. Then we're talking about the Broncos defense. I like their front, man. I do. Obviously, Bradley Chubb, he stands out to me. I thought he played too many snaps in his first game back, and they said they initially didn't want him to play that much. But obviously, when you lose Von Miller game week, and obviously he's out for the season, I think that's what ultimately led to him playing a lot more. But when he was fresh and not tired, he was looking good. Like good. He was giving Taylor Lewan some issues, and we know Taylor Lewan is a top tackle in this league. He looked really good against him. Jarrell Casey, obviously, in the interior was causing some problems as well, man. I like that. They're going to feel the loss of AJ Bouye, though. Separated to show that he's going to be out.
They said probable. Is it?
No. Yeah, they put him on IR yesterday. So he's going to be gone for at least 3 weeks. So I think they're definitely going to feel that. And obviously they already lost Chris Harris through free agency during the offseason. So that could be something that potentially the Steelers take advantage of. I think they will, as long as they can protect. If they can, like I said, you got to minimize Chubb and Casey, though. If you can contain those guys, man, and give Ben some time, yeah, I definitely like our receivers versus their secondary.
No joke. I was thinking this. It's actually pretty similar to the Giants matchup.
Absolutely. It definitely is.
good, but an experienced quarterback. Young weapons on offense. Yeah. You could see talent. Sutton's actually way better than anyone the Giants had for sure. But, he's coming off an injury. Like, we're not – I think he's playing this – I think it's going to be him, Hamler, and Jeudy. I think they're all going to play. But unproven talent there in terms of Jeudy and Hamler. You still have to wonder
at what percentage are they going to be, because obviously they've been dealing with
even with being in sync with Locke, right. But a great tight end in Fant, Ingram over there with the Giants. And then defense, like you said, front seven is their strength, getting to the passer, getting behind the backfield. And then I guess secondary, especially with Bowie being
Bouye
out.
gone, yeah.
How was it? I said Bowie.
You just say Bouye, it's a Bouye. Yeah.
Bouye. With Bouye being out. I mean, they got Simmons. I think that may be the X factor that Broncos have as opposed to the Giants, but
true.
It's pretty similar in my opinion.
But you think about this, who did the Giants have in their secondary that was the X factor?
I'd say Simmons over him though.
Well, no, I agree in that, but I'm just saying like very similar in terms of where you have their like the playmakers and stuff like that. One guy in the secondary, this guy at that level, and so forth. But yeah, man, when you talked about Noah Fant, man, they do a really good job of featuring him. But the thing that I like what the Broncos did that I do think will cause some issues for our rushers. What they do, they have a lot of 12 personnel. They'll have 2 tight end sets, or wherever your premier edge guy is, they'll have a tight end to his side, and they delay that tight end every time. In terms of they'll have that tight end stay in and chip that edge guy like a hard 2 hands on him, 1001, 1002, and then get into the route late, which
that's
a lot of times.
That's one thing he could do better than Ingram.
Yeah,
for sure.
and it benefited Fant a lot because by the time you 1000, 1000, the coverage is already left. And obviously the Titans, they played a lot more zone, so they would be gone. And now he's able to slip out, catch it at, a 4-yard catch, but he runs after, makes it 7 or 8. I like that a lot because Jadeveon Clowney was giving them problems. And when they started doing that, it really changed how his impact was on the game, along with moving Drew Lock a lot, man. He hardly ever was just dropping straight back. He was rolling to the right, rolling to the left. It was always some type of misdirection, just moving his launch point to ultimately compensate for the line's inefficiencies. For me, man, I could definitely see them doing something similar to that because our D-line is a lot better than that Titans D-line. And just knowing they're not going to just sit back and allow Bud and TJ to take advantage of those tackles, especially, I mean, the one tackle that they draft, was it the one they drafted this year or the one they signed? I'm drawing a blank, but he's not even playing. He opted out for the season and things like that. So that's definitely not the matchup that you want to have those guys on the island for. So I can see that scenario where they try to minimize those guys like that. Luckily for us, we do have the back end that can cover and hang with those guys, but that's definitely going to be something to watch, man.
Yeah, and I was just thinking this too. I guess the difference would be then, to go back to my last point, Simmons, the advantage for the Broncos on defense, where he's better than Jabril Peppers. And then you got the Giants on offense, Barkley versus Ingram. So I guess those would be like the two X factors. But in general, it's like pretty much the same thing. We're probably going to be looking at similar things like keys to the game and what we're going to need to do to have success. Man. That's kind of what I was figuring. I guess, I don't know. I guess the one thing that would worry me is the receivers against our cornerbacks. You saw Slayton go off kind of last week. I was saying with
Sutton. We are assuming that Sutton, Judy, and Hamler are probably... I feel like Sutton is better than Slayton, but I think right now Judy is at least comparable. I mean, Judy's still young. And like I said, Judy, he gets open. He has great footwork. It's just the hands. He's not consistent right now, man.
That's the thing. I mean, if you're placing money on it, though, I'm betting on the Steelers cornerbacks and our defense.
Yes, absolutely.
And Minko, any of these guys covering their receivers, figuring out a way, whether it's scheme or not. I'm putting my money on that, but I think that's probably the main thing you're worried about then on offense. I can't really think of anything else. I guess Fant versus Bush. I
was going to say that's the matchup. I'm not worried about our receivers. Our corners. I think our corners will do fine. They're going to make some plays just because they are really good. But I think that our secondary wins that. The matchup that I'm interested in is Fant versus Bush because with the Giants, Evan Ingram isn't their guy that we want to feature. Their offense, they want to feature Saquon. And then from there, it's like, all right, well, Ingram, you can get what's left over, but we want to stretch the field a little bit. So let me see what you get with Slayton, because obviously Golden Tate wasn't out there. With the Broncos, though, their offense, they run it through Fant. Like, that's the difference. Fant is targeted a lot. A lot of their passing concepts highlight him. And obviously, if you take him away, well, then he's going down. Locke is going to his second and third read, which is Judy, which is going to be Sutton and those guys. But they're going to make sure that they highlight that matchup, whereas I don't think the Giants highlighted Ingram like that. So that's why I think this is going to be a better test for Devin Bush. Obviously, I feel like he did great in week 1. Man coverage, zone coverage, he was flying around, great open field tackling. That was the biggest thing too. When you're playing in space, you got to be able to open field tackle, because if you miss, now that's a 10-yard gain on top of that, because everybody else is in coverage back, turn to him and stuff like that. they're going to isolate Devin and things like that. So it's going to be interesting just to see how he continues to respond and progress. I think he'll be fine, but that's my biggest concern from our defense. Our offense, the offensive line. We don't know. I mean, right now we know Banner is out for the year with the ACL. Wisniewski, they said it's a pec, but we don't have any more information.
I don't think DeCastro
hasn't practiced yet. So you're potentially looking at having a whole new right side of the line and Kevin Dotson, a 4th-round rookie starting. Fourth round rookie starting, and then you have Chuks Okorafor making a start at right tackle. I feel a little bit more confident in Chuks because his first time starting was against this same Broncos team, but it was against Von Miller. Now, granted, schematically we did some things to help him, but he still performed well. So I do feel a lot better in that regard.
Yeah, no Von Miller.
But Bradley Chubb is going to present some challenges. But when I look at Kevin Dotson, the rookie, I know he has some.
Wait, are they going to be lining Chubb against Villanueva, or is it going to be Okafor? He's going to be moving around.
He flip-flops.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're probably going to put him mostly on Okafor's side then. Is that what you're saying?
They're both going to see him. Trust me, they both going to see him, man. They both going to see him.
All right. They're moving him around.
Yeah. And rightfully so, because he can rush good on both sides. It does not matter. But I'm drawing a blank on the other guy's name, but he created some good pressure as well, man.
You said off the mic
I'm
that
gonna pull it up real quick, man.
He was definitely filling in for Vaughn pretty well.
Yeah, I'm going to pull it up real quick, man, just so that way when he's out there, we can know who we're talking about.
You don't want to give them any fuel to the fire too by not mentioning the name. You
never know, man. They might get offended.
they might be tuning in.
Here it is, Jeremiah Atachu. I think that's how you say it, man.
Okay.
Yeah, but number 97, man. He was productive. 3 tackles, had a sack out there as well, man. But they all are in that same like lanky speed rusher. He's 6'3", 250, prototypical size, but he rushes really well, man. And the thing that I was impressed too with Jeremiah, he has success going against Taylor Lewan as well. And for me, I always gauge these edge rushers against like, okay, well, what's the quality of opponent? What's the quality of tackle? The reason we talked about last game, like I was more impressed with Bud going against Andrew Thomas than I was TJ talent against Cameron Fleming, who's more of a journeyman. So that was the whole thing with that. And that's why I said, man, with those two guys, I think that they definitely are going to present some challenges. But I think, man, with Matt Canada, what he's been able to do from a pre-snap motion and movement standpoint, that's going to help out a lot. I also think we could see a scenario where they're trying to create different launch points for Ben in terms of not having him just drop back traditionally straight back every time, because I feel like our offensive line will struggle to protect if they do that.
We got the weapons, man.
Yeah, because I mean, we saw the Giants definitely were having success both rushing interior and outside on the edge when we try to just drop straight back. So that's my biggest concern, man. If that D line wins that battle, that can change everything. Similar to what we saw with Washington and the Eagles. We knew the Eagles had the better roster, but their offensive line just wasn't good. They couldn't hang with them, and ultimately that was the deciding factor in that game.
Yeah, so whenever I mentioned we have the talent, I really thought there was 2 parts of the Steelers' success with the Giants on offense versus their defense. And one was whenever Ben was getting the ball out quick to Juju on the zig routes, Deontay on the slants, just getting it in these playmakers' hands. So that's one aspect. I think that's a way that we could mitigate the Broncos' pass rush for sure. But then also, I don't know how this would necessarily affect the pass rush. I think this does it, though. It's just more or less keeping a defense honest is the running game with Benny Snell. And even though Derrick Henry didn't have the best yards per carry, they kept feeding him, and it was effective. So I think
31 carries, 116 yards.
He proved it in a couple of games last year. He's obviously took a jump, as we've seen in week 1. If we get him the rock, we could get the ball out quick with some like spread offense type of formation. I think that's it. I think it's kind of what we did against the Giants. If we just do those type of things, I think we'll be good. Absolutely, man.
And I mean, we saw in that Giants game, everything played out the way it should have played out, but we definitely saw that Giants D-line get after our offensive line, and which was some of the reasons why Ben was taking the hits that he was taking, and why at times we all were kind of holding our breath like, oh, is he going to get this out of here? Can he make this play right here? So I think it'll be similar going into this game. I do still think that the running game is going to be good. Yeah. Though. I think, man, the way Benny is playing right now, he just looks good, man. He's been able to make guys miss. I know when you look on the tape, obviously the O-line got better as the game went on.
Yeah, definitely.
And, you know, that's definitely something that you're hoping can carry over. But I just think that it's still not going to look like how it finished, just because now when you're talking about having new pieces again and having to get reacclimated to that, I think that's going to present some challenges. That's all.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. What about so I guess then our defense versus their offense then?
Yeah, for our defense versus their offense, like I said, the biggest thing is how we minimize Fant. I know they're going to do a good job in terms of the Broncos offense. They're going to keep those tight ends in to at least chip and slow down Bud and TJ.
Yeah.
But I don't see them being able to run the ball. I think they're going to be one-dimensional. And if they're one-dimensional, having to pass a lot, I mean, you think about Daniel Jones threw the ball, 41 times last week. If you're throwing the ball 40 times against this defense, Gordon's
not doing anything against us. Yeah, he's not.
If you're throwing the ball 40 times against this defense, that's going to play into this defense's hands because they're built to stop the pass. I mean, we talk about the edge rushers, the interior rushers, guys that can cover, safety play. Yeah, they're built for that. The biggest thing, if you want to try to attack this defense, you got to be able to run the ball. And right now, I just don't think the Broncos have enough in their O-line to be able to get movement up front. That was the biggest issue with Saquon last week. They just didn't have no movement. I mean, anytime they tried to run out of base, Tyson Alualu was dominating the center.
He was, man.
Every single time. If you're not winning that matchup, there is nothing you're going to be able to do in terms of running the ball because you know with Cam and Tua, they're winning their matchup in the running game. So I just see a similar scenario with the Broncos. I understand Munchak is out there and he does a great job getting guys ready to go and things like that. We benefited largely from that here in Pittsburgh.
We got an insider out there.
But I just don't. I mean, they also signed Anthony Chickalo.
I saw that.
Bro.
Well, that's because is it because Mark Barron, he was on the injury report? I don't know if that's why or if they just want some
I don't
more
know because I'm like
here.
Barron plays inside, Chick is an edge rusher, so I'm like it doesn't really Chick give you special teams value, but I mean I don't really see how those two work together in that vein because they're two different positions.
They just want that inside info here, man.
Yeah, but when I saw it, I was like, okay, Chick. I'm just glad Chick getting a check, man. Hey, I'd rather you get the active money than that practice money, baby. Get paid however it works, man. However it works. Cut the check.
I wanted to say something about the whole Devin Bush Fant matchup that we were talking about in terms of the tight ends and just the similarities of Broncos Giants again. With that tight end, it's going to be different for Bush just because Fant's more of a traditional tight end build as opposed to Ingram.
He's like a receiver.
Yeah, he's a receiver out there. So, I like all the points that you brought up with Bush and maybe Fant being a mismatch. I know I was talking about the receivers a little bit.
Whoa. I ain't say mismatch.
No.
I ain't say mismatch now. Don't put that on me now.
Match to watch.
There we go. Match to watch. Let's say, I'm betting on 5-5.
Right. Like a potential thing that could be cause for concern.
Cause for concern. If like when I look at these matches, I always say,
I said with the Steelers cornerbacks versus the receiver. If I'm betting my money, I'm saying the cornerbacks. Yeah. But if something were to happen, this could be the thing I'm looking for.
That's I feel like every game you got to ask yourself, how do the Steelers win this game? And then how do the Steelers lose this game? And from there, that's kind of how you're able to formulate the different keys and different matchups to look to. And that's just kind of how I come about that, man.
Yeah. Do we got anything else in terms of the matchup? Because I don't know. I don't know what else there is, really.
I think that's the biggest part. We talked a little bit about Deontay Spencer, seeing just, how they continue to minimize him. I loved what Derek Watt did, though, man. Him and Robert Spillane were flying around on special teams last week. I think Derek Watt had like 3 tackles on special teams. So, you pay him for that. I love to see that. Expect we're going to need that again come Sunday because, like I said, Deontay Spencer can definitely light it up. And it'll be interesting to see Deontay Johnson, our Deontay, in the return game, man, in terms
Whenever
of showing up.
He was able to shake a little bit, get some yards.
When the ball is in his hands, he's electric. We talked about that, but we saw drops from him, and we also, obviously, like I said, when it comes to the punt return situation, we saw him look like how he did in year 1 in terms of the ball security issues, in terms of catching and stuff. I want to see just, all right, is that cleaned up? Are you good to go? Or is this going to be something where every kick now we're holding our breath? Because we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that at all.
No. No, definitely not. I guess for special teams, one of my keys, what I'm looking for.
Here we go.
Just balls, make just make everything. That's all.
We had a missed field goal. We did.
It was extra point.
Same difference as a kick. You missed it. Yeah.
I know, but then he hit everything after that.
Yeah. So
I just don't want to go through what was that 2018 again. That's all. Because he was awesome last year. He was probably the second or third best kicker in the AFC.
Absolutely, man.
After Tucker, but I don't know if there was a guy in between there, but maybe we could say top 2. What the hell?
He was a top tier kicker. Just leave it at that. You're so quick to put a number on it, man.
I know.
Then we get up here. Well, what about Goskowski? What about this guy? You're like,
nah, dude, he's out of it, man. I don't know what was he hurt last year? He might have been hurt.
I think he was hurt last year.
Yeah, but dude, he didn't look good at all in the Monday night game, man. He screwed him.
Monday night game.
Yeah, he missed all those field goals with Titans. He's
Yeah, now he's with the Titans. I'm talking about when he was with New England.
Oh no, I'm not
like,
talking
what?
about that. I'm saying he's lost a step this year.
I'm talking about what's that?
For his sake,
a year or two ago. Yeah.
For his sake, I hope he gains it back, unless he's playing us in the playoffs or something. We play them this year, so maybe miss a few kicks there. But yeah, that's I told you, I'm looking to special teams a little bit more now, and I'm going to be eyeing up the kicking.
You are funny, bro. You are funny. I like it though,
let's
man.
see if there's a little bit of a draw to his stroke, a little bit of a fade.
We'll see, man.
I am.
They say kickers like golf too, bro.
I am. I'm going to look week to week. All right, he's drawing a little bit. Let's see what he does next week. Does he got the draw down, or
because a lot of times, man, if you're too wide one way, then they try to overcompensate and they make it too much the other way. So that's always something to follow, man.
I think that'll be a good thing. Every week I'll come in with my
I like it, bro.
I'll come in with my kicking report.
You know I'm down for it, baby.
like a golf draft.
Yeah, I'm down for it, man. So predictions, bro. What you got?
You know what? I'm just gonna say the same score because
what score? What did you have last time?
I had 27-13.
27-13? Okay.
And I was close. We were both close.
Yeah.
But so I didn't waste it on the last one. I didn't hit it. So let's see if I can hit 27-13 on this one. I've been talking about this whole time the similarities between Broncos and Giants and how they match up with the Steelers. So hell, why not 27-13?
I like it, man. I got it 21-13, man. I think.
Oh, a little less points for us.
Well, yeah, I just think that
their defense is slightly better.
They're a better defense. I also think that their D line is gonna potentially cause some issues for our offense early on, similar to what we saw last week against the Giants.
Because our O-line's a little worse heading into this game as opposed to last week.
And let's be real, even if our O-line was healthy, it wasn't as if they looked good the whole time Monday night. They looked like they had some issues. They looked like they needed to get some stuff cleaned up. So I already was feeling that way, and that was before you factor in the potential 2 new starters on that right side, one being a rookie starter on top of that. Yeah, that makes me nervous. So that was why I have it at 21-13 versus it being, a lot more, because I do think, man, from a matchup standpoint, our weapons, once you get outside of that O-line, I think our weapons at the receiver position and at the running back position, obviously Titans are included in the receivers. I just think that they have the more talented players in that group.